What's up, nerds? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Jeff with Aggressively Average Anglers, and this is my Old Town EPDL 120 Pro, otherwise known as the Blasty Blast. We've always had fun naming our kayaks after different Pokemon. So we had the Hobie Pro Angler was the Snorlax, and this one being blue, I just felt it made sense. Let's go back to a classic standard Pokemon. We got the Blastoise or the Blasty Blast because we aim to have fun on the water as well. So nice little combo there. But this is actually gonna be my submission into the Kayak Angler Magazine Yakoff 2. Crazy name, fun competition. Basically a 16 bracket competition where different anglers, kayak fishing anglers, will put their builds head to head. So we're in the bracket, Paul and I. So Paul will be on one side of the bracket for now. I will be on the other side of the bracket. And we would love to have a nerd face-off in the championship. If you would be so kind, consider going to Kayak Angler Magazine. There should be a big header image that says Yakoff 2 right there. Click that, bookmark that page, go back, and you can vote when it's our week, when we go up against some other cool folks in the kayak fishing industry. If you pass a vote on over our way, we'd be very appreciative of that, for one. For two, enters you in for a chance to win a prize package. So not only do we potentially win and move on to the next round, or maybe win the championship overall, but you get a chance to win something as well. And I think that's really cool. And the prize package is freaking loaded. Just check out the website. You'll see everything that's available. So what I want to do in this video, I'm going to walk you guys bow to stern on what we did with this kayak rigging setup. And this is going to be really unique and different from a lot of builds that you've seen out there. Personally, when I got this in hand from Old Town, I was like, what do I do with it? I even emailed Ryan over at Old Town. I was like, where do I put batteries and stuff? And he was like, can't wait to see what you do. And I was like, neat, cool, I'll figure it out. But there are a couple of videos out there of like how folks have rigged it out. They're just all kind of basically the same. So I wanted to do something different and be as like utilitarian as possible. So starting up front, we have my absolute brick house of my Motorguide Xi3. Funny thing about this Motorguide Xi3, yesterday I dropped it 5 feet in the air. Still works, still functioning, has power, is going to take me out on the water and go find some fish. I've had this thing for years. It's fantastic. It's super heavy duty. And the Old Town has this little 4-bolt pattern up here. So it makes it easy to set this up and rig it out. I'm also running on this a new retract cord from New Canoe, actually, that works really well. So it functions where you don't have to add all this other stuff. I have drilled a hole in this plate, but you don't have to if you just get this thing. It's a 1-pull system. So if I pull, it depresses the pedal there, and I can retract the motor. It's a lot easier when I'm way back there. And I can also deploy the motor just with one simple cord. So I thought that was cool, something I wanted to use on all my future kayaks. We have flush mount Anderson connector plugs here, in our opinion. One of the best connection plugs you can use, very universal, also watertight connection. So having this up here is really nice. And then when you don't want to use it, so if I want to take this out, you can see it's a snug connection, just close that thing up, it's watertight. Don't have to worry about anything going wrong there. And I liked that in place of the standard from Old Town that they have here, which would require the cable to be kind of hanging out all the time. So this is a lot cleaner setup, in my opinion. Moving on back, we have the Yak Attack Rotogrip holder. This is normally for paddles. I use this for my net. And this, by the way, my favorite net from Broken Twig. This is a local supplier. They take hockey sticks, broken hockey sticks, and turn them into floating nets. They have a nice little puck incorporated here as well. So just overall stylish, cool net. And it's this like medium length. So it's really easy just to scoop those fish up in a tournament situation. So I like that a lot. And then it just rotates right in there and stays really well. If we peek under the hood here, first of all, I have first aid for Paul. So I can make sure that Paul doesn't get dead after he gets hurt. So that's there. And then if you look on the inside, we have our GLS-10. This is for the live scope. We've got our Yak power system. This is the 8-circuit switcher in there. And then we've got 2 Naqua batteries, and this is pretty cool. They actually Velcroed into these 3D printed Yak Hobby battery holders. So it's a little tray here, Velcro strip on the bottom, snugly sits right there. So that way they're not sliding around in here. Was able to take all of the power cords, all the cables for my lights and everything, and just kind of like zip tie them and tuck them away underneath the rod tubes on the inside. I thought that was nice. And then we took I used some old starboard that I had from something else, and I just cut it to fit, and that is what is holding those upright, because there is nothing really inside of here that's going to do a good job of organizing or managing all of your electronics. And there is a lot of electronics on this. You can actually see the nav lights right down here. It is daylight, so not everything's going to show up very well. But if I turn all this stuff on, then you can see, hang on, we've got our nav lights. So we got red on that side, green on this side. So that is gonna be nice for low light conditions, early mornings, late evenings. On the inside of the kayak, if you go back a little bit, you can see the blue lights. So I've got the LED strips from Yak Power right here. We've got the button lights back here. So I've got one on each side, and that helps you light up the whole cockpit for those like early morning rigging setups or getting off the water late. I can see everything I'm working on. And then we've got the long LED strips in the back in the rear tank well here, so you can see everything you're working on here when I'm going and unplugging all my stuff, or if I'm looking for tackle, again, early morning, late evenings. That's gonna be really clutch. And I've never really run lights like that, at least this many lights on a kayak before, so this was a fun experience for me, and Yak Power makes it super easy. You see that? It floats, it doesn't matter. It can go wherever it wants. So working our way back, we've got our track packs. This is actually a new color from Yak Attack as well. So this is from their Coastal series. And this Coastal Gray, I think, goes really well with this blue. And then you're also gonna see some orange accents in this too. Did that on purpose. The old school like sportsman setup from Old Town was that blue and orange. So I wanted to go back, a little callback to that. I thought was fun, and I think that they look really good in here. Moving back here, you're gonna see that we have our EPDL drive, which is great. Now, the cool thing about this is I don't have to have a stern mount motor. Notice there's nothing back there. One of the main reasons I did that is because Old Town always uses these offsets. And while you can absolutely run a motor back in this position, I don't like to. It's just not my favorite thing to do. So these are really great if you run a power pole. Lakes I fish on, I don't need a power pole, so I didn't end up doing anything extra, and I didn't want all that extra weight either. So we went and we avoided that. But nothing back there, everything up here. So the EPDL, if you don't know, is like an e-assist motor. So I can pedal, I can set the assist level up. There's 5 different levels. And with that setup, you get the assist as it implies. So it makes it easier to pedal. And then you can hit cruise control, this button right here, and it's a motor. So you do, like, most likely you're gonna have to register this kayak if you get it in a state that requires registration of motorized vehicles, but not a big deal most of the time. But we got it registered, and it goes about 3.5 miles an hour. So this serves as a pretty good trolling speed motor, gets you from point A to point B. If you use it in tandem with this sucker right here, you can go about 4.5 miles an hour. So I think that's pretty cool. Another thing about the EPDL is that it's extremely efficient because you're pedaling, you have this assist setting. So it's not like the motor's doing all the work all the time. You can pedal or motor or both, and you still have instant reverse. So you don't lose your pedal functionality like a lot of motorized kayaks do, where you just have either the bow or the stern or both. So here you can see our controller for the 8-circuit switcher here from Yak Power. So I can power that on and off really easily with the push of one button. And then we have bow, midship, stern, and then 1, 2, 3, and a nav light. So nav is obviously navigation lights up front. I set 1, 2, and 3 as the fish finders. Bow is going to be the front lights. Midship is the button lights, stern is the rear lights. So I've got everything kind of dialed in on that setup. Midship is also a dual circuit. So I've got my Yak Power phone holder here, which is pretty neat. So if you actually do that, that expands so you can fit your phone in there, and then you just press it and there's a button, and that just constricts and holds onto your phone really well. If you want added security, I just took a little phone retractor right there so I can run that around my phone and keep it nice and safe. That way, if in a rare circumstance it falls overboard, it can be safe. Also, you can do a one-hand removal on the phone there, super easy. So if I want to film a video on the water, I can do a nice selfie video there, or if I just want my phone charging and out of the way, I can do that as well. And then that's also hardwired, so you can unplug this and you can cover that up with a weatherproof cover. So good to go, just like that. There's a lot of really cool custom parts on this. Some of them 3D printed, some made out of Starboard. Here's an example of one right here from Navarre that I like a lot. So this is pretty much a tool rack, right? So I can have my pliers in here. I got my line cutters. It's a good place to clip things on. It actually creates like a solid pocket behind it right there as well. So I like that. They're pretty heavy duty. I didn't want to add a ton of weight, so I just did it on the one side. The other side is the standard stock Old Town webbing as well. So I also have room to use that as a cup holder, which I thought was cool. You'll notice all the orange scupper plugs throughout this thing. I did that because there is a lot of weight up here. I wanted to prevent water from coming into the cockpit as much as humanly possible. These are just some cheap ones I found on Amazon in a cool orange color, and I was like, let's go with that. So the whole thing is plugged up from front to back. You can even put them into the lower rod holders, because sometimes if the water were to come up or splash over, it can kind of sit in there. So just something you can do, a little extra bonus that I like having. Check this out. This is from Steady Stick. If you guys haven't heard of them before, go check them out. They make a lot of really cool products. And as it implies, Steady Stick, a stick basically you can install on your kayak. So when you're standing and fishing, you can be comfortable and safe and balanced. One thing that they've added though is this bracket right here. Comes all as one big kit, but you basically can just, with 2 bolts, add this bracket, sits inside of the pedals, so you can pedal around this just fine. And then you can set up your fish finder right here on top. So it's now a center mounted, like a center console on this setup. I like that a lot. I'm running my Garmin 93 SV up here, and this is on a steady and super stable ram mount with a 2-inch ram ball on it. It's insane. But this is great because now this can be like my map. So I can have this set up on maps and down scan. Allows me to just maneuver where I want to go on the water really easily. Then you come over here, you see the 126 SV. So this is the giant freaking screen. This is my cheater box. So you'll see over on this side, I've got forward facing sonar with the Railblaza Hex Live. So Hex Live is pretty cool. 2 track mounts right there. This is actually a removable pod. So this comes off just like that, goes back on pretty easy. And then you can just snap it back in nice and secure. So having this here, you've got this handle, nice grip on it. Arrow shows you which way your sonar is pointing in case you forget, instead of having just a post there. And it actually comes with all these cable lockdown brackets there. So it keeps it nice and clean, and it rotates up. So if I'm on the move, I just rotate it up, fold that handle down, it's out of my way. If I'm not using forward-facing sonar, again, it's out of the way. I can have it right there though. We've used a few forward-facing sonar arms in the past. They're usually around like 200 bucks-ish if you get like the fishing specialties, if you get this one. There's a couple other ones out there. I'm really liking this for the price point that it's at, and it's a lot cheaper than getting like a Sniper Marine, which could be $700-800. Those are really cool. Really cool. Don't get me wrong. They're just a lot of money. Moving back, I actually added a nice little Yak Attack Mighty mount there, so I can have a cup holder right here, because the only cup holders that come with this kayak are essentially right here, and they're not really ideal. They're kind of in the way. So I added one there, added one here. You know, something cool about the Old Town drive system is that you do have this like little dry hatch here with a little webbing on it. I never use a webbing, but on the inside, car keys, phone, anything you don't want to get wet, you can just stow in there. So that's always neat to have. You'll also notice our custom aggressively average angler kayak cushion. So that thing is, it's the Big Bertha. This is the super thick padding for this big booty right here. Very comfortable. Been sitting on that for the past couple trips I went out. I'm liking it a lot, and having our own logo on it is super neat. Yeah, you can reach out to Kayak Cushion. You can put anything you want on it. You can put our logo on it if you want to be super cool and neat or whatever, or you can put on something else, whatever you want to do. Lots of cool options there. Made in the USA. We love it. Flipping the seat up, you can see I've got a nice little stow area. There's not a lot of like distance to clear here on the seat frame with the Old Town, but this will fit in there really well. So this is a wireless foot pedal for my Motorguide Xi3. And if I just hold this anchor button down for a couple seconds, you'll hear it beep. And that is going to allow me with my foot to steer my Xi3. You can even feather the prop, so I can run the prop a little bit like that, and you can hit spot lock right here with a single button. That is insane. You can adjust the prop speed, by the way, too, and I'll tell you this right now, I've already tested it, you can run this standing. So I can actually stand up on this kayak right in this position here, have the foot pedal on one side. As long as you stand sort of like narrow, have one foot on one side, one foot on the foot pedal, it's like low enough, you can gently run your trolling motor wherever you want. Back here, you're also gonna see the battery box, super tiny. The EPDL comes with a 36 volt, super tiny battery, 36 volt, 20 amp hour battery that fits right in there, nice and snug, nothing to worry about. Couple custom things we got behind the seat here. Added some decking. This was just like a big open plastic space. So I went and just slapped on a tiny pad of sea decking there. I think that's nice because you've got the horizontal rod storage. So we got the tubes way up front. The butt of your rod is going to sit back here rather than just sliding around laying on plastic. I preferred this. Definitely not necessary, but I think a cool little feature. So back here, you notice that we took out the included rod holders. I don't know about you guys, but I never really use those included rod holders on any kayak I've ever owned. This is from Navarre Fishing. So this is a rod delete, and it comes with a track. So you can set up your universal mounting for anything from Yak Attack. And I have on here the Omega rod holders, which are pretty solid. You'll also notice custom orange fittings. The knobs are custom in orange, and this is the new Coastal Gray. I think, again, a pretty cool color combo in my opinion. I like it a lot. You'll also notice the Yak Attack black pack here with a short stack on top of it, and this is the 16x16. This is also in that Coastal Gray. On the inside, you'll notice I've got plenty of room for a couple of tackle boxes and any plastics I could ever need. I've got line in here too. So this is the everything I could need box basically. And this will hold 6 rods. Got the custom orange tabs on that. And up top, this is where I keep my terminal, my tools, camera stuff, just the basic accoutrements that I need to have a good time out on the water. We got the Yak Attack leaderboard and leaderboard holder on the side as well. And then move on to the back. This kayak really gets simpler the further back you go. We got our battery. That's an X2 50 amp hour. I went with that just because it's much smaller than the typical Power Queen 100 amp hour I use. And it cuts the weight down a bit. So that's nice having back here. And again, we have another flush mount plug in the back too. So that keeps everything nice and clean. Again, there is a pass through here from Old Town. I just don't love using those for something I have to plug and unplug at all times. Finally, finish it out. Yak Attack Visicarbon Pro back here. Again, really only super necessary in low light conditions, early morning, late evenings, tournaments. You're gonna have to have this, but it's nice that I can be way in the back, completely out of the way, nothing I need to worry about. Last thing is the underneath thing. So you can see here is the flush mount transducer holder. This is from Yak Hobby. Went with this because the standard transducer holder you get from Garmin, for example, it sits a lot lower. If you're sliding it on and off of trailers, truck beds, whatever, like there's always gonna be a huge risk to clipping that transducer. Now, I personally have decapitated a transducer before, and I don't recommend it for anybody. So having that stealth mount there from Yak Hobby is fantastic. All right, you guys, out here on the EPDL Pro. I'm pretty stoked about it. So here's a look at the cockpit as you're actually moving around, fishing around. So we got our live scope over here. I got my chart plotter and down scan right here, so I can run all of this. Now, I could easily just split screen this. I would have gone with just a 12 right here, but because of how big and heavy that 126 SV is, yeah, it wasn't gonna sit up there on this super long ram arm. So just kind of like how this thing worked out. It's much better suited for like a 9 or even a 7-inch screen right here. The cool thing I like about this though is you can lay it out like this. So it's angled this way at me. It's nice and close, but it's low enough that I can cast over it, no problem. I've been catching fish on crankbaits lately, so I can roll up to kind of a deep spot and fish this grass. So that's what I'm gonna do right now, and I'll show you how casting around this works. You can also see all of those fish right there. I have a ton. So they're down at 10 feet and below right now, and that's because we just hit lake turnover. But what I can do, so I can take this setup right here. Those fish are straight out ahead of me. I'm gonna bomb out a little crankbait there, and I'm gonna just run it back. And you can see, like, I can set the hook here. I'm not gonna hit that screen. I can cast over the screen in the middle. Now, this is also ideally set up for someone like me who likes to stand a lot. So I will often be standing up in this boat or in any kayak that I use. This is a pretty dang stable kayak, so this allows me to just get up in this position. Now, the other cool thing about this setup is I can angle that screen right there so that I can see it while I'm fishing, which is really nice to have. So what I really like about this setup is it just gives you the sides here, the angles to fish off of super easy, and be able to like see your screens and everything right there. Now, of course, like, I get it. You don't have to have forward-facing sonar. It's nice to have. It's technology that I think is really cool, so it's something I'll mess around with. But of course, I could switch the screen up so I could go to, you know, just my down scan. Another thing I like is you can go to these combos, and what you can do is you can end up doing something like this, where on like a bigger screen, it's easier to have this split 3 ways. So I can gain a lot of information really, really fast with this type of setup. I can get an idea of where I want to go on my lake map. You can see all my trails. I fish here a lot. This is my home lake. And there we go. So we got a bait ball at 6 feet. So I can get right to that. I can see it on the down scan. I can see it on the forward facing. And then if I want to keep looking at the screens, I can tip these up really easy so I can see them while standing, or I can just stand and fish, which is what I usually do. So get the information and then go fish. Whoop. There we go. I saw that on the sonar. That was sick. That was sick. Let's go. Nice green fish. This steady stick mount here for the 93 SV though, I love this. You could certainly just run this. It centers your weight. You've got a big enough screen here, 9-inch screen. You could run a 7 if you want to, a 5, whatever you choose, right? But a 9 is great. This 93 SV from Garmin is light enough that it also is nice and stable up here with that heavy duty ram arm there. And there's enough clearance for you to pedal. So you can actually lean it pretty far forward and still be able to pedal without your feet clipping the graph, which I think is really neat. And then it's just like right in front of you the whole time, so you can see where you're going, what you're looking for, find your structure differences, look at your down scan, look at your map. If you're not about the FFS tech, then forget about that existing. Pretend only this is here. Again, it's a build off. You got to build something cool, right? So I did. And I love the track pack placement. I can access both sides of these, even around that 12-inch screen. So plenty of room for me to grab what I need for the day to go catch some dang fish. One last cool feature we got to call out, because this is the EPDL, is the EPDL drive. So we turn this thing off. It powers down after a few minutes just to conserve battery. It's extremely efficient. You can see your battery consumption readout there, level of assistance here. So if I put this up to a 5, what happens is I'll start pedaling. It'll be kind of normal at first for a second, but then it kicks in. Like as soon as it kicks in, this pedaling is straight up, it's free. Like this cost me no effort. Speed wise, I'm going at a level 5, like 3.35, 3.4, there it is, 3.5 miles an hour. Even a little bit over, I'm still going up. I'm going faster and faster, that's awesome. If I wanna stop pedaling, I can just hit cruise and then I am going, right? This is a motor going 3.2 into the wind, so that's not too bad. Now watch this, I'm going straight, right? We got the Xi3 up there. If I go ahead and I turn on the Xi3 and I ramp that up to also full speed, now you're gonna see my speed kick up even more. Also, I'm seeing all these marks as I fly around the spot. So now I'm going 4.2. I can get a little bit faster if I'm not directly into the wind. So that's cool, man. I've had this thing going 4.5 when I had a little less weight on it. But yeah, like you can full steam ahead. You can turn at full speed, it's stable enough. And when you want to turn this motor off, all you do is pedal backwards once. Boop, and it's off. And it re-engages within a second. And now we can pedal forward and reverse as much as we want. And again, you don't have to add the bow mount. You can leave that off. It's kind of nice because it gives you spot lock, where this is a motor and pedaling. So it's a lot of control, but it's not spot lock control. So on days like today where I have a lot of wind, it's just nice to have that spot lock. One other cool thing is you can angle the handle of that forward facing up. So I can actually stand and I can tweak my forward facing sonar so I can find the right angles. Lots of functionality in a compact little space. All right, where are these fish? I'll fish my way back. There we go, got them. Oh, Mondo perch, baby. It's a multi-species day. Gotta love the multi-species. Look at that freaking perch, dude. Nice little taco guy. Oh, okay, we got fish. First cast on the spot. Use our net. We shall. Look at that. There we go. Found him. What's up, skinny guy? There we go. Thanks, buddy. Here we go. There he is. Yes, sir. Oh, buddy boy. Decent little guy for the day. See you later, buddy. Probably something important to call out too. You can drive this thing while standing up. I love any kayak that's stable enough to do that. Lets you, if you don't have forward facing sonar, just kind of like sight fish for a minute so you can roll around at the speed of sound and see if you come across something. And that right there, my friends, is it. That's the rundown. This is the Old Town EPDL Pro. I'm having a lot of fun with it. There's a lot of ways you can rig this thing out. I'm liking this setup because I have like my big forward-facing sonar screen, or graph if I'm not using forward-facing. We got our map here. I got my comfy cushion. I got a bunch of custom parts on this thing. I think it looks cool. You guys let me know if I'm completely off base on that. And it's a lot of fun on the water having this motor and this motor. So I have a lot of extra control with the Xi3. Let me know what your thoughts are. Comment below. What kayaks are you running? You don't have to run what I run. I'm not trying to make you buy this thing. Buy it or don't. I just think it's a lot of fun and I'm having fun with it. And if you guys wouldn't mind, if you could take an extra 1 second of your day, hop on over to Kayak Angler Magazine's website, go on to the Yakoffs, and potentially pass a vote my way. You have a chance to win a prize as much as I have a chance to potentially move on to the final round. Go head to head with Paul, have a nerd fight, and it'll be a blast. Thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to subscribe, smash a like, and all that stuff so you can see how the Yakoffs turn out at the end of this competition. And we'll see you guys on the next video. Okay, bye.